All right, let's just jump right into it. We're going to talk about what is, without a doubt, the greatest comeback story in Hollywood history. I mean, this is a story about a guy who had literally everything, lost it all, and then came back to change movies as we know them.
Just let that sink in for a second. He was supposed to be dead by 30. I mean, that wasn't just some dramatic headline. That was the reality. Drugs, prison, his career was toast. Hollywood had completely 100% written him off. So the question is, how do you go from that to becoming one of the biggest stars on the entire planet?
And this right here, this just lays out the whole conflict perfectly, doesn't it? On one hand, you have the promise. We're talking an Oscar nomination when he's just 27. But on the other side, the peril. The guy was literally handcuffed and considered so risky that no studio, no insurance company would even touch him.
So let's rewind a bit. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, Robert Downey Jr. was, well, he was on top of the world. He was the definition of Hollywood's golden boy. His charisma, his talent, it was just off the charts. Absolutely undeniable. And look, we're not talking about just any old Oscar nomination. His performance as Charlie Chaplin was so spot on, so transformative, that Chaplin's own family praised him for it. I mean, can you imagine that kind of validation? That's the stuff that cements you as a Hollywood legend.
But, like in any great story, the higher you climb, the further you can fall. Behind all that fame and success, there was this chaotic spiral pulling him down, and it was leading to an absolute catastrophe.
And the fallout was brutal. This wasn't just a bit of bad press. The entire industry slammed the door on him. Seriously, the phones just stopped ringing. Insurance companies wouldn't cover him. He went from being that golden boy to being absolute certified box office poison. This timeline just puts it into stark perspective, right? In '92, he's at the Oscars. 4 years later, his first drug arrest. Then, state prison. And by 2001, he's not just out of work, he's flat out uninsurable. The fall was just as fast as it was devastating.
So this is it. This is rock bottom. And when you're there, you really only have one fundamental choice to make, right? Do you stay broken? Is this how the story ends? Or do you somehow find a way to rebuild from the ashes?
And he chose to rebuild. But let's be clear, this wasn't some quick movie montage with upbeat music. This was hard, grueling, day-by-day work. He committed to getting clean. He found this incredible anchor in his life, his wife, Susan. And then he started that long, humbling climb back, trying to convince a very skeptical Hollywood to just give him one last chance.
Which brings us to what might just be the single biggest gamble in modern movie history. One role. A role nobody wanted him for. A role that was going to either be his final, spectacular failure or the start of a legend. You have to remember, the studio was dead set against it. They saw him as a massive, unacceptable risk. But the director, Jon Favreau, he fought for him. He saw something nobody else did. He realized that Downey's own life, his struggles, his wit, his charm, it all meant he was the only person who could truly be Tony Stark.
And wow, was Favreau right. Iron Man wasn't just a hit, it was a complete cultural reset. It changed what a superhero movie could be, and in doing so, it totally rewrote the story of Robert Downey Jr.'s career. I mean, look at the numbers for just that first film, over $500 million. The gamble didn't just pay off, it was like hitting the lottery. But honestly, that was just the beginning, just the spark.
Because from that one movie, an entire empire was built. He became the absolute center, the anchor of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a franchise that has now grossed over $22 billion. Think about that leap, from uninsurable to the face of a $22 billion juggernaut.
So let's just pause and really appreciate that for a second. The guy everyone gave up on, the actor who was called box office poison, he became the most bankable, the most essential star in the entire world. The comeback was officially complete. And of course, it all led to that moment in Avengers Endgame, when Tony Stark makes that final sacrifice, and he says that line, "I am Iron Man." Man, that wasn't just an ending for a character. It felt like the closing of this massive, real-life circle. It was a moment that had audiences everywhere in tears.
But here's the thing, the story doesn't just end there. Because what he did with that character created a legacy that's so much bigger than just one movie or even one franchise.
You just have to look at how fans reacted to his character's death. People weren't just sad, they were devastated, heartbroken.
That's not how you react to some fictional character disappearing. That's how you react when you lose a hero you followed and believed in for more than a decade.
And because that connection is so deep, the speculation is still running wild. With the whole multiverse thing, fans are convinced we haven't seen the last of him. And even the head of Marvel himself, Kevin Feige, has been really careful to never completely shut that door. Can you even imagine the reaction if he came back?
When you think about the word redemption, the idea of being saved from your mistakes, it is honestly hard to find a better, more real-world example than this. His on-screen journey as a hero saving the world became this perfect mirror for his off-screen journey of saving himself.
And I think that's the ultimate takeaway here. From being in handcuffs to becoming the hero for an entire generation, his greatest role wasn't just playing a superhero on the big screen, it was becoming a real-life example of what it means to get a second chance.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. What do you think? Will the hero return? Will we see him suit up one more time? It's a fun question, right? Because in a story that's all about impossible comebacks, you learn to never, ever say never.